Good morning, second grade. Today is Tuesday, March 31st, and I hope that everybody has been taking a chance to write in your journals each day, or as much as you can. And every day that you write in your journals, I hope that you are remembering to write the date at the top, because that's something that we need to keep on working on. And so remembering the day, if you write that, the comma, March 31st, 2020. And I also wanted you to keep in mind that you can write the date as a number. That's something that we've worked on. And if you were going to write the date as a number, do you remember how you would do that? So just think. Remember, we count up January, February, March. So March is the third month. So you would write the 3 dash, then the day, 31, and then the year, 2020. So you can write, when you're working in your journals, you can write the date as the words and then switch off sometimes and write it as a number. So you keep that skill fresh in your memory. All right, and tomorrow we'll be starting a new month, which is pretty exciting. Time is going quickly, so tomorrow will be the first day of April. Let's see. Snowball had a joke for you today, and he wanted to share. The joke is, where do polar bears keep their money? In a snowbank. I hope that you at least got a chuckle or a giggle out of that today, guys. I know that it's tough being at home, and I hope that you're being helpers for your parents. Ask your parents what chores or what you can do to help out around the house, because you know what? Everybody being at home, it gets tough. So see if you can help out with the dishes or making sure that you pick up all your toys. Just try to every day show some kindness and see how you can help out your family. I wanted to read some more of the Wild Robot Escapes because we are getting close to finishing it. And I'm hoping that maybe the end of this week we can find out what happens with Roz and Bright Bill and see if they make it back to their island. So yesterday, Roz had to go underground to hide. She'd gone down through a manhole and there was a rat that was helping lead her through the street. And when we stopped reading, she popped out back onto the street level again. So today's chapter 78, is titled The Chase. The street was empty. No people walking, no robots working, no automobiles driving. Roz looked to the sky, hoping to see Bright Bill or Strutter. But what she saw was a fleet. A fleet is a whole bunch of ships, a fleet of white triangular airships. They were floating over the city, searching for the runaway robot, and they had just spotted her. Rosum Unit 7134, do not move. 3 robots zipped down from a ship on cables. They were Rico's 10, 11, and 12. Each held a rifle at his side, but they didn't fire their weapons. Not yet. Their orders were to retrieve the target unharmed if possible. Our robot's survival instincts blared like sirens in her head, and she burst away from the Ricos. She sprinted down the empty street and turned onto another empty street. All the streets seemed to be empty, but they wouldn't be empty for long. More and more big, bulky robots came zipping down to join the chase. The Ricos moved like machines. Their target moved like an animal. The wild robot stayed low, gliding across the streets, darting around buildings, vanishing into the shadows. Her computer brain thought back to those games of hide and seek she had played on the farm. But this was no game. Roz never should have gone into that alley. She was halfway through it when Ricos appeared at both ends. There was only one direction to go. Using all the strength in her legs, our robot launched herself high into the air and she clamped onto the side of a building. Frightened faces peered out from a window, but Roz didn't want to frighten anyone. She just wanted to go home. The robot launched herself up and across the alley and clamped onto the opposite building. Back and forth she went, leaping between the buildings, climbing higher and higher, until she landed on a flat, lofty rooftop. The sky was filled with white airships. All at once the ships turned toward Roz. Their engines buzzed as they closed in on our robot. But then came a strange, swishing noise. Pigeons, hundreds of them, thousands of them. Wave upon wave of pigeons streamed up from the streets and swarmed around the airships. Strutter had rallied her friends from every corner of the city. They had always hated airships, buzzing loudly, crowding the skies, forcing the birds to fly low, and now a city's worth of pigeons were finally unleashing their anger. As you'd expect, the airships fought back. Blazing beams of light flickered across the skyline and left charred feathers floating on the breeze. But the pigeons didn't retreat. They tightened around the ships, distracting them and confusing them. There was a deafening screech. Little bodies fell and a ship spiraled out of sight, leaving a trail of smoke behind it. Roz watched in horror as more pigeons and ships went down. She hollered for the birds to fly away, but they were lost in a fighting frenzy. Heavy feet thumped onto the roof. Rosum Unit 7134, do not move. Roz didn't look. She just ran from the voice, leaped to the next rooftop, and kept on running. Our robot leaped up to a higher rooftop and then down to a lower one. Up and down she went, leaping from building to building, footsteps thundering behind her. But still the Ricos did not fire their rifles. Mama, I'm here! Brightbill swooped alongside his mother as she ran. What should we do? Brightbill, you must fly to safety, hollered Roz. It is too dangerous up here. And then in a softer voice, the robot said, I cannot escape. No, Mama, you've come so far. Don't give up now. And here's the picture of Roz, leaping from rooftop to rooftop, as the Ricos are trailing behind her, trying to capture her. But Roz was finished running. She slowed and stopped at the edge of the rooftop. The goose fluttered into her arms, and our friends held each other close. You have been such a good son, said Roz. You have saved my life so many times, but now you must save yourself and go on without me. Will I see you again? Said Brightbill, wiping his eyes. I do not think so, said Roz. They still had so much to say to each other. There simply wasn't any more time. So they said the only words that really mattered. I love you, Mama. I love you, son. Airships circled above. Ricos dropped onto the rooftops. The Ricos gathered up our robot. A voice boomed, Rosum Unit 7134, do not move. But Roz did move. She heaved her son toward the sky so that he could fly to safety. And in that instant, the Ricos fired at Roz. A blazing beam of light flashed onto our robot's leg. The damage sensors flared as the leg turned bright orange and melted away. Poor Roz tried to keep her balance, but she was already toppling backwards, off the roof. She seemed to hang in the air, sparkling in the sunlight, and then she fell. Down, 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 to the street below. As Roz was falling, she took one last look at Brightbill, soaring in the sky above. She watched him get smaller and smaller, and then suddenly, everything went dark. So Roz, she risked everything. She wanted to rescue her son and make sure that he made it safely away. Let's see what happens with Roz. Chapter 79, The Designer. Roz awoke slowly. She was surprised to be waking up at all. That fall from the building should have destroyed her, and yet here she was. But where was she? Everything was dark and silent. Was this where robots go when they die? No, as her systems activated, the real world came into focus. She saw white walls and floors, and she heard the hum of machinery in the background. Roz was somewhere inside the robot factory where she had been made. A pile of robot parts lay on the floor. The parts were smashed and mangled. It took a moment for Roz to realize she was looking down at her own broken body. It took another moment for her to realize she was now nothing more than a robotic head. Her head was sitting atop an electronic box that powered her computer brain. Roz still had her thoughts and her voice, but without a body she couldn't move. So she sat there, completely helpless, and waited for the makers to appear. The makers did not appear. Instead, Roz heard soft footsteps and an old woman appeared. She was elegant with white hair and red lipstick and black clothes. Flowery perfume wafted behind her. Every detail about the woman was neat and precise, except for her fingers, which were smudged with dark grease. Here's a picture of the woman. "Welcome back, Roz," said the woman, wiping her hands on a rag. "I wasn't sure I'd get your computer brain working again. You took quite a spill out there. How do you feel?" Roz just stared. "You don't have to pretend anymore," said the woman. "I know you're not a normal robot. Everyone knows. You made that perfectly clear when you led the Ricos on that wild chase through the city." Roz remained silent. "I watched the video of the chase. I don't know how you got those pigeons to attack our airships, but I'm more interested in the goose. You seem to be speaking with it. Can you explain this to me?" "The goose is my son," said Roz at last. "Is that so?" The woman arched an eyebrow. "Roz, I repaired your computer brain so I could talk with you. I want to know how you came to be this way. So let's talk. I'll begin by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Malavo. A long time ago, I fell in love with computers and robots, and I created a company called Tech Lab Industries. Since then, millions of robots have been produced right here in this factory, and I've designed every last one of them." Dr. Malavo leaned forward. "Roz, I designed you." All right, friends, tomorrow we're going to start on chapter 80. And we're going to find out what Dr. Malavo has to tell Roz about her beginning and how she was created. All right, so the title tomorrow is called The Beautiful Glitch, and that's where we'll pick up. I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.